Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and welcome to a night. Excuse me. Isn't that a great way to start a show? To another underwhelming episode of our show. If you have low expectations, you have come to the right place. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. Glad you're here. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching us live, oh yes, live is the best. And so I'm so delighted to see so many folks in the chat today, and I hope you guys will play nice. We've got a special guest today, and I'm going to introduce him in just a minute and dedicate probably most of the show to him. But before I do, I want to get some dates out of the way. Number one, Monday, the 21st of March at 9 p.m. Eastern is the next vMix Fun Time live show. And it's going to be coming live, of course, it's a live show, from Australia. It'll be, I think, 11 in the morning on Tuesday there, 9 o'clock in the evening on the east coast of the U.S., and so that'll be 6 o'clock on the west coast, and if you're in Norway, it's going to be about 4 in the morning. So you want to tune in, and if you go to vmix.com/live, that'll take you right to the page. And follow them on Twitter. Heck, you can follow us on Twitter. Anyway, follow them on Twitter, and you'll get the latest, greatest on that. I think they're going to talk about the new Black Magic DeckLink Quad 2 card that is 8, count them, 8 SDI inputs, outputs on one card for less than $1,000. And they got a preliminary of some sort of prototype version of the card, and have got it already working with vMix. The card's not going to be released till the end of this year, but vMix is ready to go on it. There is some glimmers of hope that a vMix 17 beta they might be announcing a release on that Monday night. Now, this would be the beta, not the final release version. So I put a poll on my Twitter feed, and so far most people think no. Although the vMix folks said I had 3 options. I had yes, no, or I know but I can't tell. But they suggested a 4th option be added to the poll, which is maybe. So maybe there's a chance that they already promised that they were going to release the beta before NAB. Well, March 21st is before NAB. I think originally they were going to release it in March, and then it was going to be a couple of weeks before NAB, which starts the 3rd week in April. So maybe they're ahead of schedule, and we'll see. Anyway, so make sure you tune in Monday night to the vMix Fun Time live show at 9 o'clock Eastern. What else? Got a super guest today, and I know sometimes we don't have as many guests as we should. You probably get tired of listening to me talk. But this young man I met through the internet, email, and Skype, I guess about maybe last fall. And he and I chatted back and forth, and I became very impressed with him. Among other things, among other talents that he has, is he writes plugins, applications for vMix. He's got a slew of them in his web shop. And he is from Norway. He's a young man, barely out of his teens, probably, well, I'll let him give you more detail on that. But with one of those, no offense intended, but with one of those last names that is impossible to pronounce. It's got all these consonants and a vowel thrown in for some flavor like salt, I guess. So we're just going to refer to him as Sondre, and let me get him queued up and make sure we get his mic enabled, and because it would be a shame to have a guest on the show and then not have them be able to teach. So Sondre, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Among other things, and he's got quite a resume, folks. Among other things, he and his brother are the creators of the audio controlled switcher for vMix, and we demonstrated that last week on this show with 4 mics and me, which was well, it was fun, but it was not a real life situation. So in just a few minutes, we're gonna enable that, and we set it up in pre-show, and it seemed to work pretty well. So, Sondre, first of all, before we get to that, and that's going to be fun, but I want to get to the good stuff first too. How in the world? When did you discover vMix? When did that get on your radar?
So me and my brother are doing this local youth talent competition. And bear in mind, the place where we live is 5,000 people. So this talent show is big, but not huge. So we have like 20, 30 people on the stage for different talents. And then we have basically everyone from our place meeting up to watch this show. So in the beginning, we were using a software called Easy Worship to stream or to make this live view in the on the with the projectors behind the scene, and but this software was not really good. We didn't have many options. So we're like we could add some lower thirds and switch some cameras, but it had a lot of limitations and wasn't really something we were looking for. And me and my brother are always looking to improve what we work on. So when we started looking around and we ended up finding vMix. I'm not sure how far vMix had gotten then, what version it was. It would be fun to know if we were really early. And after finding vMix, we started using it at that. We started trying it at home and just realized like, wow, this is something completely different. It's designed for doing exactly what we want, because software mixes wasn't really that usual at that point. Hardware were like the big thing, and we had our trials with fails in the beginning. Like we arrived at location, started using vMix, then okay, this is not working. Bring in a hardware mixer, bring in some cameras, do it the old-fashioned way. The next year, come back with vMix, try again. If it works, it works. If not, we have a backup plan. So a lot of trying and failing in the beginning. Eventually learning more about it, getting more stable in it, how it works. I think the first times we tried it, we didn't even know what progressive and interlaced was. We had little knowledge of frame rates of 0.97, is it? 94 frame rates. So yeah, started out with this very small talent show, really.
And so from that, you discovered vMix. You got intrigued by it because you'd never seen anything like it before.
Hmm.
And but when did the audio control switcher end up on the scene? How did that
Ooh.
figure into that?
So when we discovered vMix, I can't remember exactly how we discovered the API, but of course that was a really turning point when we discovered that, because then suddenly we had the opportunity to expand everything. Because when I was about 17, I started doing programming as a hobby. I've always been interested in it. I before I started high school, I started making these small web pages, like basic tags and basic text, because I like the way of building systems. So the little programming experience I had, I managed to move into building stuff, working with the vMix API. And at the very beginning, we did this with basically like just very, very hobby based. Wasn't anything at all. We started releasing the vMix weather and a was it a low third pack that was free on the vMix forum. We just put it out there. The 2 packs that are free in our store now was the first 2 applications we made. So you can see there the low third pack and vMix weather. Yeah, those 2 were free, and it gained popularity quite fast. And we were like, okay, we can make more stuff like this. But as this wasn't a primary job, we didn't have much time for it because I have school and work on the side of this. So we basically just made software that we needed when we were going to do our productions. And then we were like, we can put this on the market. You can just later, if someone can use it, then fine. So for the audio control switcher, the Norwegian national TV, NRK, contacted us about the plugins that we had made for the web shop. And they wanted us to make a radio show plugin, like the one audio control switcher. So when we started making this plugin, and we started communicating back and forth, and the guy who asked us about the plugin was not like the head of this project, automizing the radio studio. So he couldn't tell us that, okay, you're going to get this much money for this project and so on. So when we made a demo and sent it to them, they looked at it and said, okay, this is exactly what we need. And then they took it to their boss, or to a big meeting. On that meeting, they realized that, but this is something I think we can make ourselves. And so they did. So it ended up they just making their own version of this, most likely more fit for their exact use. So we didn't hear much more from them. And then we were like, okay, whatever. We can put this on our web shop. And so we did. But we didn't put more. I mean, we didn't keep editing it because we're like, okay, we're pretty much done with this software. We can put it on the market. If someone can use it, there we go. You can have it. If not, the point of making all our software so cheap from the beginning is that we don't have time for much support and stuff because we have so much else to do. And usually when people are having trouble that we can't fix, okay, we always try to fix the problems with the software, but if there's something that like, okay, just can't fix it, it's not just a simple problem, then we'll give you a coupon or something to just satisfy everyone the easiest way. And so for the audio control switcher, it was actually a program made for Norwegian national TV or radio that just didn't break through. So then again, it wouldn't matter because now we're in the US. No, we're playing with the big guys. Am I right?
You're playing with the big guys. There's no doubt about it. And we get bigger every day. But no, and my friend Justin out in California, who does a health podcast, found you guys and said, Tom, look at this software. Is this something that I can use? And he said, I know what it does, but I don't know how it does it. And can you help me figure out how to use that in my business? And so I looked at it and I said, this is a gold mine. This is amazing. This is incredible software. Gee, whiz. And so I wrote Sondre and I said, do you need somebody to sell this in the U.S.? And he said, sure. And I said, you need somebody to sell this in the galaxy? And he said, okay, we'll do that. So what we found out, just a peek behind the scenes, is that if you're going to use multiple XLR mics, there's other complexities involved, like getting multiple XLR mic individual audio device feeds into the PC so that the software can see them each individually. So you can't do that with a typical mixer, like I've got my good old Behringer X1204 USB over here. So we had to bring in the Behringer UMC 404 HD, which is a value-priced, what they call audio interface. Then using the ASIO drivers allows you to bring in individual audio feeds into the PC, which vMix can see, but the audio-controlled switcher couldn't see. So we had to find a little helper utility to translate the ASIO driver back into a Windows driver. And it took a little while to put all the pieces together, but this is going to be the centerpiece of our Talk Studio system, and I'm delighted. We've already placed one in sort of our beta tester out on the West Coast, and I've got a couple other guys that are very close to pulling the trigger on the full system, and that'll include the PC and the Behringer and the vMix and camera cards and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it'll be a $6,000 or $7,000 deal, of which Sondre's software is the one piece that is the missing piece to the puzzle. So nice job there, young man. Age, how old are you?
22.
22. I mean, think about it. Tommy, in Reeltown, what were you doing when you were 22 years old? Were you developing software that's going to be sold all over the world? I wasn't. You don't want to know what I was doing at 22. Holy cow. Gee whiz. I was living in Alabama. Yeah. All right, Sondre. So let me go back to your web shop page for a second. And somebody put this in the chat, but for the folks that are watching on Skype, it's shop.njastad.com, and I should have had a graphic that had that. But Sondre, pronounce your last name for us.
So the shop name and my last name is of course not the same because we have this ace with these salty sprinkles over. So my last name would be Njastad, or more like you would pronounce it in origin, Njastad. Yeah, Njastad. And then in English, it would be more like Njastad. I'm not sure if you can manage to say that even.
That's like, it's not pronounced duck, it's pronounced duck. Like, yeah. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make fun of your name. I've got a funky last name too. Not too many people see Sinclair. In fact, funny story about my name is it's Tom, and the proper pronunciation of my name is Sinclair. So I would say my name is Tom Sinclair. So everybody called me Thompson. Oh, Mr. Clare. Yeah, Thompson, come over here. No. It was, so I had to mispronounce my last name so that it would get understood. So it's Tom Sinclair, and that everybody got that. But nobody else in my family pronounces their name Sinclair. They all pronounce it Sinclair. So yeah, Tommy's saying Sondre works for me. There we go. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So you are still in school, going for an advanced degree somewhere.
Yeah, I'm doing a bachelor in computer science.
Of course. And you are working full time?
No, part-time at a fiberglass company.
Okay. Doing fiberglass work or doing IT work?
Both. I started out several years ago doing the glass fiber work. Then I've been working my up to a little extra job in IT. So I'm mostly in IT now, just a day a week or something.
Good. And you have your web shop. You and your brother have the web
Yeah.
shop on the side. And
Yeah.
so he's got packages there for lower thirds. He's got a telestrator. He's got a weather app. He's got a software control app. He's got an audio mixer. He's got a smart titler, a straw poll visualizer. I was looking at that last night. Tell me about that. Is that new, or is that something you've had up there for a while?
It's been there for a while. I don't know if there's a timestamp on the release date. I can check real quick. No, there is not. There was a review in March 2015.
Okay.
So a little before that, I guess. So the straw poll visualizer, I think this was the software made again for a special occasion. There was this esports event that wanted to have some kind of straw poll going on the screen. And we were like, well, okay. So we have a website providing an API with a straw poll. So that would be strawpoll.com, is it?
Strawpoll.me, I think.
Right. And I think if you, I can't remember the exact address, but
That's his
yeah, real
girlfriend, folks. Not the dog. The
no, not
hands
the
that
dog.
you didn't see.
So we realized that the API was easy to work with in strawpoll.me. So we decided to pull information from the straw poll, and I think this was one of the first times we used a DLL instead of XML plus exe, because we found out if you add the DLL, right-click, check properties, then you just have to add the straw poll ID to have it refresh the graphics automatically. So, and we also wanted to make a plugin that was self-updating, so it would move as votes came in, of course with a time interval, but it's a really short interval, so if you have like very few votes, you would see the bar moving real fast back and forth. And then you can edit the option titles, and you can choose if you want to have the URL visible on the poll graphics. Only downside of doing DLL is it's basically no way to change the graphics. So if you would want a custom job outside of how it looks in our the one we're made right now, we would have to do a custom job. But we do a lot of custom jobs making these kinds of software. I've even made a software for a guy who runs some kinds of horse show. I have no idea like exactly what it is, if it's like presenting or some talenting kind of thing. But he had a database with a lot of information, and he wanted to just scroll through this whole database of, I think, about 100 horses a show or something, instead of typing all information. And we made that really quick, really easy. So we do a lot of custom jobs. And as for the straw poll as well, you can present that information in any way you want, graphs ups and down and stuff. But then again, that's a custom job. So if you can specify the job for us, then we can probably make it. And you can see, I don't know if you have a desktop capture on at all, if that was just a still image, the shop image you had.
Oh, yeah, that's... Let me bring that back up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the still, isn't it? Image.
That is the website.
Yeah, but it's the image, it's not the desktop capture.
Which one do you want to go to?
The straw poll visualizer. Okay, so because if you scroll down just a little bit, you find a video, so you can show them the graphics, how that looks, what that looks like. So if you just go into the middle of the video or something, there you can also see the DLL we dropped on, and that's the property window you get from the DLL. So you can see the yeah. So there you can see that it changes as people vote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
cool.
Something.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, it was just a way to have like really live straw poll voting. You can throw it out there, and you can actually just sit and watch that bar yourself. You don't have to watch the actual results. You just use that bar as your main reference for the poll. I can't remember the refresh frequency, but it's quite often.
That's cool. That's cool. So if you need a custom job that has to do with vMix, Sondre's your guy. And you can contact him through that address right there. Yep, I assume there's a contact page on there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, there it is. Contact
yeah,
us. Okay.
in the
Very
bottom,
good.
I think there's a contact us.
Yeah, there it is right there. Contact us. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, well, enough of this idle chit chat. Let's play with the software, shall we? Okay.
We should.
Let's see. I should have done this earlier, but I was having too much fun with other stuff. I need to add a screen capture so we can show you what the software looks like. And how to do work with that. And this is what it looks like today. You can tell that the blue bar, that's me talking. And the other blue bar, Sondre,
That's me talking.
there you go. And you can see that there is a little bar to the left of the bar, a little slider that allows me to adjust the volume threshold. And that is the threshold at which the software will switch to my camera. So since Sondre is such a soft talker, we're going to set his threshold really low. And actually, we ought to set it really high. That way he would never, ever have his camera switched. No, that's not fun. Let's go back here. We'll set him about 8. I'm set about 10. And then there is a third section over here on the side that I'm going to enable that for just a second. And you can see the blue bar popping up and down. That's one person talking. If he and I talk at the same time, that's going to trigger vMix to go to a third shot, which will be this shot right here. So this is the combined shot. This is the shot that would be the fallback, or what they call the overview shot. This shot, of course, would be Sondre's shot, and this shot would be my shot. So my shot's number 1, Sondre's number 2, and then the group shot will be the overview shot. Now, if you have more than 2 mics, you can still set the overview trigger for any 2 mics, and that would go to the group shot. The other thing this has built into it that I think is really cool is in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see, I'm just going to highlight the numbers to draw your attention to it. But it has the ability, if there's silence for a given period of time, in this case 2 seconds, that it will default to the overview shot. So we're going to leave that on. And I'm going to go ahead and enable everything. So as soon as it hears me talking, it should, if I've done this right, let's see. We've got main shot number 1 is me. Input 40 is Sondre, and 35 is the group shot. So I was quiet for 2 seconds and it went to the group shot. Now Sondre is going to jump in with a comment.
Yeah. So now it switches to my shot.
So how long did it take you to develop this software?
It actually took quite a while because there was a lot of just working with trying something, showing it off to this national TV channel, then returning some feedback back and forth. And again, he wasn't the one to decide exactly how it was going to be, so he had to go someone else. So the feedback process took a very long time. Development itself, it took quite some time, but maybe it's one of the more lengthy applications I've written, as I can remember. But I don't know exactly hours because it's probably over a couple of weeks and every now and then programming, so I'm not quite sure.
A couple of weeks? Oh my gosh,
yeah.
This would have taken me months or years.
So yeah, I come home and I program to relax, to just sit down and have some me time, have a good time on computer, relax, just write some software.
You are too modest. He does this for fun. Can you imagine? He does this for fun.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it works pretty well. If you're in a situation like me as a host, producer, director, technical guy all in one, if I had a room full of guests or a room full of Skype calls and was also trying to manage the show at the same time, I wouldn't be able to handle it all. But thanks to Sondre,
we can make this work. One-man band.
One-man band. That's right. That's right. First person that talks loses. Okay, that was me. All right. So, and the other thing that I like about it, and Sondre added this feature at my request, is the ability to turn this off so that I can go ahead and shift to whatever I want to, whenever I want to. And obviously the first part of the show was just me manually shifting. And then, when we started the demo here, we turned it back on. So let me see if I can turn it back on right here and see if it will shift based on my voice. It doesn't go. Let me go ahead and shift to number 1. Maybe that'll trigger something. Yeah, there we go. Now it's working. All right, my friend. So can I can switch it, but it's going to take over for me.
No. So what I think happened when it didn't want to shift now is because the software never reads vMix for what camera it's on. So if I keep talking now and you switch the camera to another one, if you can do that now, you can see it does not change back to me because it controls that it's already on me, so it's not gonna return to me unless someone else has been talking before me. This was initially a wanted function because it would not trigger the timer over again. So that would be it would not check it would not check if I was talking again, and if I was, it would not start over that 2-second delay. Of course, there could be an option to make it read from vMix, but as that was not like one feature when we made the software, it has basically not been thought of. And also, it would add the functionality like you're doing now to do a little manually controlling if someone were to talk for a really, really, really long time like I do now. So, pros and cons of this feature.
So what you're saying is I can switch it and it's going to stay where I switch it until a different speaker speaks or until the trigger is operated. And
That's
so
right.
I can leave it on automatic and then switch it whenever I want to without having to disable it.
That's right. As long as that person keeps talking, if someone interrupts him, even if it's just like you did now, like lifting up your cup and it makes enough noise to interrupt it. Yeah, exactly. That will trigger it. And then whatever image you shot you have, because the software works like when it doesn't, it's never read, it's a one-way communication. When the software listens, now gets an audio trigger, then it sets that specific input. And it only checks with itself is like what am I the current camera if is my input the last one that I switched to. So it does not check towards vMix itself at all.
Got it.
And of course, we also have to add that this software hasn't been on market for a very long time. It has been available in the shop, but as not many people have been using it, it has not been through the like lengthy testing. The software itself is stable, but features that are wanted or unwanted yet has to be like tested and felt a little about. So like I'm mentioning right now, if we would want to check with vMix if that's the actual input on the screen, that's something we can add with no problems. And also like if we check with the vMix, you switching away from me manual like you did would not be working because it would be like, oh, he's talking, switch back.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of things going on right there.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's. I want to turn it off for a second because I want the both of us to be able to be on this shot. A couple of questions in the chat room. Number one is, will you be demonstrating this at the vMix booth at NAB in Las Vegas?
I wish I could. I don't think. I think they would give me a pretty weird stare if I showed up in a vMix T-shirt at their booth and be like, "What? We're surprised. I brought this software." So no. As for now, I'm not, unfortunately.
Well, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be doing a show. Maybe they would
Alright.
allow us to pop that onto their PC and see if we couldn't get it configured, and
That would be nice.
spend a second or two showing that. Might be worth a pop. Another question says, can you delay the switching so that it is less instantaneous? And I think the answer is yes, and I want to get you to explain why again. That's the minimum delay.
Exactly what I mean. Do you mean the 2 seconds?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. It's actually, you can set the delay in milliseconds, so you can have anything down to 1 millisecond, but that would be crazy. No, I think it's bottomed at 100 actually milliseconds, but that's like you would understand, that is instantaneous. So we have that in milliseconds just because if you were to tweak it like, oh, I would like 180, like 1,800 instead of 1,005, because the little extra would give another feeling. But then again, you can set it up to like 4 or 5 seconds, no problem at all. That will of course be 4 or 5,000 milliseconds. So it's really configurable to exactly what you want. If you want 1,345, you go ahead and 1,345.
And so the effect of that is, if I'm speaking and Sondre coughs within the first 2 seconds of me speaking, it won't shift back to him. And it also means that it's not going to be flashing back and forth to multiple people if 2 or 3 people are speaking at the same time, but it's not enough to trigger the overview. It should prevent that, at least right off the bat.
Mm.
Yeah, Tim is asking, said, not the 2 seconds from detecting speech, but a delay once the speech has been detected. I think that's what we're answering, Tim, but let us know if that's not the case. You know, like anything else that's automatic, well, heck, I was sitting down thinking the other night and comparing to this auto switching software versus switching it myself live. And I've got to figure out which speaker is now speaking, hit the right key if I'm using a controller of some type, or use the mouse and hit the right input. And my guess is the switcher would have switched it faster than me. We'll try that. We'll have a competition between live versus automated.
That would be cool to see how much time there's difference. And we should also put some calorie measurements in the guy and think, how much energy do you save not pushing those buttons?
Yeah, that's right. Well, some of us need all the exercise we can get. Yeah. So Sondre might be helping us on another project here in the future, or maybe 2. I've got a couple up my sleeve, Sondre, that I want to chat with you about at some point. Not today, though, because I'm not ready to go public with any of this stuff. One step at a time, one step at a time. I do want to give a shout out to Anderson and Jean and Jerry and Andrew and John and Martin, who slipped in while we weren't paying attention. That means they have to bring refreshments. Yes. All right. All right. So Sondre, we're going to wrap up here. We've gone way over time, but it was for a good cause. Where are you going from here? What kind of projects have you got in mind for the future besides what I may be thinking of? Have you got something cool up your sleeve that you're willing to share?
So we have been working a little bit on a few things, but mostly for internal usage. One thing we've been working with is to have an application to stream FFmpeg instead of the Flash media. What's it called? The streaming software that vMix uses in the background. Because vMix doesn't allow to set every single setting, because trust me, in the Flash FFmpeg protocol, there's a huge line of settings.
Tons.
So we've been developing a little tool to just been able to set a few more settings, but you can still choose vMix as the input source. And that also has support for detecting the best streaming server from Twitch, the streaming streaming service. So I can send you a. If my PC would cooperate here, I can send you a screenshot of that software. Just send it to you via Skype. Then you can use the desktop capture, I suppose. So this is the software we've been working with. This is actually going to a couple of guys in the UK who do gaming, esports streaming, gaming. And they use Twitch, and that's basically why we added the Twitch button. And then you can see you can change a couple more settings. Let's see if I can remember which one we added. I think we expanded. That's what we did. We expanded the settings. For example, the CPU preset. In CPU preset, you could not do. Was it slower or ultra fast? Or I don't remember which one is the highest quality. But the absolute highest quality, you could not do that in vMix.
Slowest was highest.
Yeah, so in vMix, I think it stops at medium or slow. And we added another one just to, because this Hitbox, the streaming service Hitbox, they sent us a preset of how they wanted the setup to be, and vMix didn't support that. So we had to send this over to allow them to use the preset that the service said they had to use. Because like I said, vMix don't support that high quality. So that's something that we've been working on. Haven't been spending too much time on it because it's basically just starting the FFmpeg protocol, and you can do that from command line. So it's basically just a command line tool. And the other thing we've been working on is actually automation of PT-set controllers. And I do not. Oh, it's in a drawer right over there. But I have a PT-set head that I've been programming towards. If you give me just a sec.
Yeah, and what Sondre is referring to here in the States, we would call a PTZ.
Oh, yeah, that's probably the right way to say it.
They pronounce Z differently, like the folks in Australia does. I think it's Z.
So I guess you are familiar with the Raspberry Pi. I'm working on it. There we go. So this is the Raspberry Pi Zero. It's about the size of an SD card. If you see, compared to this nice pairs of glasses, it's barely a glass lens. And this little controller can actually do all the controlling for a PTZ head over Wi-Fi or Ethernet. So we're building some controllers based on the Raspberry Pi to simply attach to a PTZ rig, and it also controls the Panasonic Lumix cameras, shooting, recording, and for motorized lenses we also have focus and zoom. And we are going to order some motorized dollies to try to make it run over the dollies using only this one. And as it's only using about 0.2 to 0.5 watts power, you can basically equip any kind of battery to it and it will last forever. So that's something. As well as we've already been using this
that's something.
And we already made tally lights for vMix using Raspberry Pi. There is a YouTube video. It's really bad because it was really early in their development with vMix. I don't know if you can even find it, but it also have this Raspberry Pi 1 with LEDs going instantly with vMix tally. So, but that's a pretty big project, so it's taking a lot more time, and we don't have a lot of time. So,
And so this is what you do for fun.
Yeah, this is what I do for fun.
Because you live in Norway and it's -5 degrees Fahrenheit today.
Yeah. No, not today. We're on the plus side in Celsius today, luckily. I should have shown you my desk, but it's kind of messy, so I'm not going to. But I have like solder equipment, different cables, screwdrivers, everything on my desk, which is in our living room.
Yeah.
So girlfriend is not so amused about that because screwdrivers don't belong in the living room. But but that's how I like it. So whenever I want to make something with a Raspberry Pi, I can just pull out my soldering tin, start making some stuff. So yeah, that's what I do for fun, basically. Either that, or if I want to, I could play some computer games for a little while. But no, the most fun thing is to create something all the time.
Okay. Pretty cool, huh, folks? Yeah. So everybody say goodbye to Sondre. Sondre, thank you. Please hang around if you can for the post show. We got refreshments. We'll be there in just a second.
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
I would like to, because everyone who are watching right now, I think it's really cool that you have this many viewers on a live show that is this short in a way. You know, I've seen people streaming and they get a lot of viewers because the stream is on for such a long time that people get time to realize it's on, get logged on, get into their comfy chair. You know, so I would like everyone who is here to get a little snack. So I made a coupon from our web shop. Let me see. And this is for you guys only. So I'm actually not gonna say it in the video because YouTubers, you're too late. This is a live stream exclusive. So I'm gonna post it in the chat. And you can use this coupon in our web shop to get a 30% off on any product for the next 2 days. So until Friday, you get 30% off. Yeah. Just a thank you for everyone who's watching the live show. Really cool.
And folks, don't get any ideas that this is going to be a regular course on this show. Sondre will never be invited back again, I can assure you.
I have to say though, this does not include the audio control switcher because that's not in our shop anymore.
That's right.
There's a lot of other small snack things.
Yeah, but I was looking through his shop last night, and I see some stuff that I want to get. So I'll definitely be using that coupon. Yeah. Well, Sondre, it was a treat. Thank you. Hang around. But we're going to, one of the reasons why this show is so short is because most of the people that watch it are so old, they fall asleep when it gets more than a half an hour. So, we'll have to wake some of them up. But nevertheless. So, folks, what do you think? Sondre's a pretty quality guy, number one. Very talented guy, number two. I mean, what does he do for fun? He pulls out his soldering iron. These are the kinds of folks that you want to be associated with and I want to be associated with. So thank you, Sondre, for coming on. Today's show's run a little long. Generally, we're not this long, but it was definitely worth it. A couple of dates to remember coming up Monday, March 21st, the vMix Fun Time live show at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then coming up in April, I'll have to check what day it is, what date it is. I think it's the 20th. It's a Wednesday during the middle of the National Association of Broadcasters convention in Las Vegas. This show will be streamed live from the floor of the convention, from the vMix studio. So we'll make sure you have plenty of notice about this. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Now, if you've watched this whole time, you may as well subscribe. I mean, you're hooked. So if you're watching live, hang around for a second because we're going to have some refreshments in the post show. So thanks so much for tuning in. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and thank you, Sondre, for being on. And we will be back. Oh, we won't have a show next week. I've got a family trip next week, so no show next week. I'll put a note in the chat and on the website about that. So we'll be back in 2 weeks, but we'll see you then. Thanks so much for tuning in.